Hello. So it's been a little bit, just a few days since my last video, and I thought I'd show some of the updates that have happened. In the last video, we looked at Android building. Since then, we have Android being able to be built and deployed inside the editor, so we'll check some of that out. And then there's a bunch of other quality of life stuff. So here in recent projects, if we select a project that doesn't exist, it'll be removed from the list and give you the error. We also have a better input box, so I can show what that looks like in just a second. So let's see, Rocky Start. I'm just going to remake that folder. Rocky Start. So if I go to content and let's see, okay, let's put in this path. You'll see that now when I move to the left, the text stays where it is until I reach the side, and then it scrolls. So that's a new feature. It used to scroll kind of in an annoying way. I can show a video right here of what it used to do. When you reach to the end, and then as you press left to move the cursor back, the whole text would scroll and the cursor would stay at the end. So that's fixed. Now we have a much better input box, and I'm pretty happy about it. So another thing we have is you can press escape to cancel the file browser. It's just quality of life stuff, a bunch of little things like that. Before we start with our Android, let's first make our Android build example. Let's first make our main map here. So main is the entry point to your program. So your map that you want to start from is called main, and that will allow Android to know what to load up first. But before we do any Android loading stuff, let's check out the settings. You'll see we have a new settings workspace. We have project settings here at the top and editor settings here on the bottom. And there's a bunch of fields here that we can fill in. So how settings work is through reflection. So if we looked at editor settings, we'd see here there's settings, and then they have some tags built-in, or that's built into the editor. So visible false means it won't show up, like we don't want to show the recent projects. Clamp will allow you to clamp you have a start value, a minimum, and a maximum. And then you can have substructures in here. You can compose other structures into this settings, and that will give those as headings. So if we looked over here, you can see snap settings has this snapping, which is the name of the field. Build tools here is the build tool settings, and you'll see they separate by those categories. These input boxes are dynamically generated, so if it was a boolean, it would be a checkbox. If it's an input box like an integer or string, it'll be these. And if it was a like an enum or something that you'd have a drop-down select, and you can select one of, it would be a drop-down select field. We also have bit fields in as a generator, but that's a little bit more complicated. We don't have to go over that. It allows you to check a bunch of boxes to say what bit fields you want enabled. So here in the project settings, you'll see that we have our Android project here. So we want to change our root project name. If you don't change this, it's Kaiju Engine. And then our application ID, we can set like calm my company Rocky Start or whatever. So we can set some of these Android fields, and we'll have some more Android fields that come up. We also have archive encryption keys. This is just for the content bundle. Whenever you go to build your game, it creates a content a packed content file, and you can encrypt that with this key. But leaving it blank is typically just how you can debug easily. And the last thing I want to point out here in the settings is the refresh rate. You can change the editor's refresh rate. It starts off at 60 because I don't want to melt people's CPUs. If you want it to be unlimited and go as fast as possible, you'd set this to 0, and it will go as fast as it can render. And if you're on a laptop and you want to save some power, you can set this down to 30 or 25 or whatever you want, some lower number, and that'll save a lot of your battery, so it won't be cycling through so fast. Cool. So with that, we can check out the Android build And to make an Android build, you go to File, and you go to Build Android. So when you click that, it'll go through and it'll compile the library. It will compile the library is all the Go code, your game code and the engine code. It'll compile those together. It'll create the asset, the content pack. It'll pack that together and then put all that into the app. And then when it's done, you'll get this pop-up window with the app's location. So you can see here appdebug.apk, and now it's built. And I can sideload that app if I want to. So let me start a recording on my phone, and I'll show the build and run option. Okay, so that recording has started. So now I can go to File, Build and Run on Android, and it'll go through the same build process it did before, where it builds, shows the output folder if you want to do anything with that, and then it will deploy onto the device as you see here on the device. I should be showing it on the screen on the side now. But there you go, it launched. So now let's go a step further and let's make some code, some gameplay code that we want to run on the device itself. So let's just close that guy out. And now let's write the code for it. So we'll go to File, Open VS Code. This will open up our project code. And I'm probably just going to speed through this. It's similar to what we did before, but I'm going to create a new folder called Transformation. And inside of this folder, I'm going to create some new entity data for rotating this. So File, Create Entity Data. I'll call it Rotate. And it's going to be inside of that Transformation folder. And that'll create this guy, which will automatically open here to write out the code. So I'm going to write that out real quick. Okay, so we're just going to add speed to this rotate, how fast we want to rotate it. And then every update, we are just going to rotate on the y-axis by that speed multiplied by delta time. So we're done with that code here. Now we come back here. You see it completed reading through bindable data, and it's found some new bindable data that I can attach to it. Then we will have a rotate that we can add here. So I'll add the rotate, and I will say that its speed is 45 degrees per second. So now that we've done that, recording is going on my phone again. So now we'll build and run this with the rotate code set. It's just going to build a little faster now that it's already built. Oh, ADB installed device offline. Let me reconnect my device. Okay, restarted that recording. My device fell asleep at some point, and I think that disconnected it. So now we'll build and run again. So it goes through the build process again. Like I was saying, it'll go faster this time through, and then it will install the APK via ADB once more. And it should pop up here in just a moment. Okay, so there we are. The rock is now rotating there on the Android device. So that's the new Android workflow. So there's a couple other updates to the editor where we now have editor versioning. So if I go to editor, excuse my mess, editor version, I'm still messing with stuff as you can see. If we change that to a new version and then go to open our project, we will be given a prompt to upgrade our project, and you'll be able to see those changes in VCS. So make sure your version control is clean before you go and upgrade projects so you can see what has changed. For the most part, we're just copying over the engine code, getting rid of the old engine code as some of the engine code may have changed. So project upgrades are now available, and the version numbers we use are like Go, basically. You know, Go is like 1.20, 1.21, 1.22. I really like that dot instead of having two dots and turning into a string. It's just, I like numbers being able to store it as a float. So we're just going to use that versioning system. There was a lot of bug fixes. Some things like import dependency duplication, fix some category stuff, fixing some random crashes whenever you're double setting the frame rate to 0, fix some serialization for vector types like vector 2, vector 3, vector 4 whenever you store those, and fix some hotkeys going through input boxes and various other stuff like that. So one thing I'm working on right now, which I haven't completed yet, is adding in lights so you can spawn a light. You can see there's no gizmo for it yet. That gizmo is something I'm working on. I'm also working on vector 3s showing up as input boxes automatically in here, similar to how position, rotation, and scale are. But there'll be ambient, diffuse, specular, and you can see there's intensity, constant, linear, quadratic, cutoff, outer cutoff. That's good for like spotlights. You can say whether it casts shadows and all that stuff. So lights are coming in and should be in soon. If you guys are interested, again, if you haven't noticed, this game engine is written in Go. It's very fast. Check out some of my other videos showing how it's about 9 times faster than Unity out of the box. So don't be afraid of the garbage collector language. Game engines, if you use Unity, if you use Unreal, they all have garbage collectors just because it's necessary to get work done on projects. If you're not in full control of every single bit of the pipeline, garbage collectors really save an insane amount of time and also a lot of crashes. So it's written in Go. You can join us in Discord. You can follow me on X Twitter. Let me know if you have any ideas or any thoughts. Cool. Look forward to your feedback. See you guys later.